Hi, this is Kylie Coo. Welcome to my studio and welcome to week 33 of creating a positivity deck. And our prompt for this week is wonder. Now you might say wonder, that sounds more like something that should be in the slowdown phase. Perhaps it is, and if you want it to be, then it can be, because this too is your journey. But today I'm inviting you to take a creative wander, and I'll say a bit more about that as I go through. So, in terms of wonder, if you were to look at the dictionary, or if you hear people use the word wander, they will often talk about wandering aimlessly. And I think for me, I will often wander aimlessly, but it's with purpose. So today I took a creative wander through my supplies. Just took my time to look at what was there, and there was two things jumped out for me. One was this piece of black cardstock, and the other was that little piece of paper that had different colours on it. Now, I wasn't looking to actually use that piece of paper, but there was just something about those colours, the way that they were sitting together, that sparked something in my mind. So all I'm doing now is sticking my playing card down onto the piece of black cardstock. So yes, to wander aimlessly and yet with purpose, not with a specific aim in mind, but with the purpose that if I come across something when I wander, then it's about capturing it somehow, using it. So it's the kind of gathering inspiration. But there's something about not just seeing wonder in that kind of physical sense of going out for a walk. Think about taking that creative walk, a creative walk in your mind, and just letting your imagination wander and see what it comes up with. And in a sense, that's what I was trying to do today. It wasn't a physical wander, because this morning, Monday morning, as I'm creating this card, it is throwing it down with rain. So I wasn't going to go for a walk in that, not least because I had my card to do anyway. But what I did do was to take that creative wander through my supplies, just looking at whether or not there was anything called to me. And as I say, this piece of black card and that little bit of paper with the paint on it just spoke to me. So as I sat down to do my card, I thought, where does this then take me? And you'll see here that I'm starting to build this kind of galaxy, I guess. And I'm just using my white pen to create some stars and shooting stars. Now I dry this, just using the heat tool, just thinking that would kind of set it. As it turns out, it didn't, but that's okay, because I can wander through that as well and move to something else. So yes, taking a creative wander through our mind is something that I think is an interesting thing to do. Yesterday it rained down the whole day as well, and it was one of those days where I didn't feel like doing too much in that kind of physical sense. You know, I could have done my card then. Often I'll do my card on a Sunday so I can upload it overnight, but I was just in the mood for wandering in my mind. So I didn't put pen to paper, didn't do anything that involved actually getting something down in that physical sense. Yet in my mind, I was thinking about creative things. Not something specific, but just thinking about where I would go creatively, what I could create in general terms, what inspires me, what things I might want to go and check out. And then I started to almost create pictures in my mind, and little stories around those pictures. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't have to physically sit down and make art or do craft. Not everybody has that opportunity to do so, either in terms of time or whatever. But that doesn't mean that you can't wander creatively through your mind. And I was wandering as I was sitting doing this card. I pulled out these Pebeo paints that are iridescent and just started to play about with them. And as I played with them, it actually started to reactivate the white pen. I hadn't expected that. But you know, again, I just let my mind wander, and I could see that that was just helping that galaxy be built up. So that was fine. It was spreading them out, but it was creating something different. My mind was not so fixed on what I was trying to create that it put limits on that. If my mind had been fixed on what I wanted to create, it would have limited me in my creativity, because I would have looked at that and said, oh, that's not what I wanted. But instead, I looked at it and I let my mind wander and think, that's okay. I like that. That's added to it. It's serendipity in a way. So I was just playing about with those paints, spreading them about, moving them about, recognising by now obviously that what I'm trying to create is a galaxy. And I suppose that also reminded me of how I wander at times. You know, during the winter especially, I look up to the night sky. Again, it's kind of aimlessly. I'm not, well, sometimes I may be looking to spot a particular celestial object, but a lot of the time I'm just looking out. And that's aimlessly. And yet always it's with that purpose of seeing how that can inspire me. Now, I would have been out looking at the sky last night if the weather had been better, because there was a meteor shower, and perhaps today that's kind of what was reflected here. That's perhaps why this came out today, because I'd had that in mind. My mind had been wandering yesterday and this morning as to how that might have looked. I've seen meteor showers before and they're amazing. But yesterday here, it was too cloudy. There was rain, it was thick cloud at night, so there was just no chance of seeing it at all. But that didn't stop me from allowing my mind to wander and to imagine what that would have looked like. And I think this is important when sometimes when we get that kind of block and don't know what to paint. Just don't be hard on yourself when that happens. Just let your mind wander and think about, not with the aim of coming up with something specific, but just with the purpose of, if I come across something, if I think of something, then I can come back to that at a future point. So I decided here with my card that I would put on a layer of fluid matte medium. I didn't want that white pen to move any further. It moved quite a bit, but as I say, I was quite happy with that. So I decided to put that layer on because I then wanted to use some of the Pebeo paints on top of that again. I gave it a very gentle dry because I didn't want to bubble the glue. So I'm quite happy there because some of that looks as if it's gone away into the distance, as if I'm looking deep into space, deep into that galaxy, nebula, whatever it is. So again, I just start to build another layer. So if you're doing the Positivity Deck cards, then it's up to you how you do it, but I do invite you to let your mind wander beforehand and to take a wander through your supplies. It doesn't matter whether you have a lot of supplies or just a few supplies, just look at them, hold them, and see which ones call to you, and basically just take it from there. So I'm just building up those colours, just playing around with them, adding a bit of water now and again, just introducing each colour once more to the card, and looking at how the layer, that first layer, is being pushed more and more into the background. It's still there, I can still see it, but my mind is now taking me on that creative walk through this image that I'm creating. I think the other thing about wonder for me is it's very much about moving energy in a different way. Art and craft, and indeed everything we do, is just about moving energy around. When we paint quickly, it perhaps moves the energy around faster. You know, when we were in that slow down phase, that slow down state of being, it was about slowing the movement of the energy down as well. And I found that in this creative state of being, you know, the energy has quickened a bit. It seems to be moving around faster. But to wander is perhaps to kind of slow it down again. And there's no right way or wrong way. Sometimes I'll work quickly, sometimes very slowly. And you'll even see here that at times I'm moving the paintbrush a bit quicker than others. And it's just about moving that energy around. And perhaps part of wonder is also to think about how you do create and allow your mind to think about how you create. Is it quickly? Is it slow, deliberate? Is it just a case of getting something down? And at different times, certainly for me, it's about all of those things. Sometimes it's just about getting something down on paper, and other times it's about being more mindful, I guess, in terms of what it is that I'm trying to create. So here I am, I'm allowing my mind to wander. It's a creative wander. I haven't ever seen anything quite as bright as this when I look up into the night sky, and yet I've seen it in images. I don't have an image in front of me, so I've taken a wander through my mind to kind of recall and capture some of what I've seen in the past. This will not replicate it, in any way, shape or form really, but I wandered through my mind and this is what came forward for me. So here I'm now just using tiny piece of that colour and just letting the brush touch the page and no more. So today's card was really quite a quick card coming together. That wasn't intentional in any way, that's just the way it was. So I'm now taking my white pen again and I'm going to bring some stars more to the foreground, leaving most of those others just sitting there and in the background. And even as I do this, I'm just working with intention. Being mindful of what I'm doing and being in the moment. And in a sense, I'm just allowing myself to wander over the card. Just moving about, seeing where it calls me to put a little star in. And now freehand, I'm just going to write the word wander. And so my card is complete. And at this point I go back to my journal just to take a few notes, capture a few notes to remind me of what this card meant to me and to remind me of that kind of thought process that I had around the word wander. So again this week I have covered most of what I actually write down in my journal. So I won't leave all of that footage in. But I look forward to seeing what cards you create for wander. And how you feel about taking a creative wander. So as always, just let me say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the kind comments that you leave. They really are very much appreciated. And I hope you will join me again next week for the next Positivity Deck card. Meantime, take care, thanks for watching, and bye for now.